Hello everybody. I'm very excited to host the first World Sport Forum of its kind, hosted by UNIT. Um, First, I'm very thrilled to have like a little interview with Michael to give you like a little bit better understanding about what these units and this industry and city tokens are about. And then I will give you a brief outlook of who are the speakers and their topics of today. I would say let's get started.
Cool. Thanks so much, Mark, for setting us up, and really looking forward to the World Sport Forum today. I guess it's our first industry forum, so congratulations, Mark, for making this happen. I'm really excited for the World Sport Forum to come. I can't imagine the amount of amazing, athletes and sporting leaders that we're going to bring together in the future. So, really grateful for your hard work that you've done.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So let's get down to business. How about you, Michael? You share a little bit about yourself, about your background, and how do you started with the project? To get a better
most definitely. So, in terms of my background, half Singapore and half British. Been building apps and technology products the past 12 years. Really passionate about seeing how we can solve the wealth inequity in the world. So, us at UNIT, we believe that, the reason why there's all of these problems, from environmental to social issues to racial to health issues, is it could be rooted partially to the economic side of it. So if a lot of people didn't have to worry about, paying their rent, or, supporting their kids, or worrying about being stressed from their, being sacked from their job, or whatever, then, they're going to be much happier, healthier, and you have much less problems in the world. So why is there this huge gap in wealth? So we think the huge gap in wealth is not because, people aren't being paid enough, the minimum wage is too low. Is because the way wealth is distributed in society is such that the founders and investors benefit from projects being successful. The customers and employees don't get a piece of it. So UNIT hopes to solve this by providing a more cooperative economy where everyone gets a piece of the pie, basically.
I understand. Wonderful. So you have like more stakeholders already in the in the founding process, kinda. And what brought you to the blockchain industry in the first place?
Yep, a great question, Mark. So I first got into the blockchain and crypto space in 2010. I built the Android application for WikiLeaks. I was really motivated, by the mission and vision behind it. This idea of more transparency in government and providing, the ability for the everyday person to understand what's happening, from the people who run the world. I thought that was really neat. Built the Android application, allows people to browse documents, search through documents, and learn a bit more about what's going on. And mobile was really taking off, and there wasn't a mobile application on Android, so I was glad I could play a role there. But then the government froze all the donation sources. So the organization, struggled because, our Visa got frozen, MasterCard, PayPal, bank accounts, like everything to keep the operations organization running got shut down. And, we resorted to using Bitcoin, which is highly successful. And a nice fun fact, around the time WikiLeaks started supporting Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto disappeared from Bitcoin. So he was kind of shocked because he didn't want all of this attention because Bitcoin was still very small. I guess that was how I got involved. And then more recently, seeing how Bitcoin is really cool, seeing how Ethereum is super amazing in terms of being able to build more than just peer-to-peer payments, but to build peer-to-peer news, peer-to-peer social networking, peer-to-peer marketplaces like Uber, and then seeing things like Polkadot, which let you build your own Ethereum. And we thought at UNIT, how can we use this amazing technology of blockchain to apply it to the world? And we thought, the token economy is the perfect example of this.
So kind of your bank account got frozen and you more or less got forced into this blockchain space. Well, with all the benefits you can see from today, like also great story. And could you give us like a brief overlook about the whole UNIT project? How does the ecosystem function? Like, if somebody never heard of UNIT and the city and industry tokens, how should they understand the project? You're muted, I think.
Great question, Mark. So I guess, Unit is the most advanced and most simple to use token builder. So kind of like when, the internet came out, people are like, how do I get a website on the internet? And then people made website builders, and then there was so many more websites, things like WordPress, things like Wix, things like Webs, made it so much easier to issue, to create websites. Same with apps. People kind of like, okay, how do I share mobile photography? And things like Instagram made it really easy to share mobile photography. So with tokens at the moment, it's really tough to create tokens or to tell if a token is useful. So Unit basically provides a number of features to ensure the success of tokens, improve the success of tokens and make it really easy. You just need to give it a name, an image, a supply, and a symbol, and you've created a token. And then how do you tell if a token is valuable? There's this thing called the treasury, and the treasury basically tells you, what is backing up the underlying value of the token. It's not just the speculative trading value, but it's the fact that, there is something backing up the underlying value of the token. So how did the industry and city tokens fit into that? So the industry and city tokens are examples of tokens which represent entire industry token economies or city token economies. So we think that these will be the biggest tokens in the years to come.
Really interesting. And how do they like work with each other, like the industries and city token and the unit token? Like where do you see like the difference?
Yep. So the industry token and the city tokens represent industries and cities. So if you're a sport person, you're, let's say, a footballer, or you're a tennis player, or you're a coach, or a football club, the sport token is going to be super relevant for you. And then if you're a let's say musician, an artist, then the music token will be relevant for you. So it's kind of like a passport. If you're, let's say, you're from India, you have an Indian passport. If you're from Japan, you have a Japanese passport. If you're Argentinian, you have an Argentinian passport. But it's really unfair that if you're born in Argentina and you want to get a Japanese passport, you want to get a Dutch passport, it's really hard. Or you just say, sorry, you can't get one. You're just not allowed. But the cool thing about tokens is anyone can get a token. It's completely free, it's borderless. And we think that this, if you kind of looked at the earth and you saw, like someone told you that there were these imaginary lines dividing up nations and countries and economic powers, people would be like, where are the lines? It's completely fabricated and made up. So we think that the cool thing about the token economy, it's going to create not 190 countries or nation states, going to create 190 million micro economies. And we think that some of the biggest ones are going to be the industry tokens and the city tokens to govern that.
Wonderful, sweet. And also, I think there are like for each transaction, there are like some fees which goes to the affiliate link who brought the person. Like maybe you can elaborate a little bit on the fees, and also maybe give like a use case. For example, I'm a personal coach. I would like to create my own, let's say, Mark token with the Unit platform. How could like a use case look like it, and to also like touch on the sides of the ecosystem?
Yeah, great point. So Unit generates fees from exchange fees. So basically, if let's say you had a Mark token, like, I was like, all of us really believe in you as Mark, and I bought, personally $100 worth of Mark token, Unit takes a 2% fee off that. And the 2% fee, so 2% of $100 is $2. It gets split 4 ways. So 1/4 goes to the people who stake Mark token and USD token. So they provide these tokens for me to trade against. 50 cents goes to the person who invited me as the exchanger. So let's say if Joe or Philip invite me to the platform, then they get 50 cents for introducing me to the platform and thus providing exchange volume for the Mark token. 50 cents goes to the Unit treasury. So Unit is able to benefit from all of the trades on the platform, and then 50 cents goes to the Mark token treasury. So as more people trade and exchange Mark tokens, the treasury value increases.
The treasury value is like the floor price, the minimum price where you can always exchange, and it will always increase over time. So you can see that there's like some kind of substantial growth as an underlying value there.
Okay. Absolutely, well said, Mark. Yeah.
Wonderful. And yeah, just to have like this example with the coach. For example, I'm a coach. I would like to give a supply with my tokens, 100,000 tokens, and I would like to raise, let's say, 30,000 to euros or dollars to get my business started. And how for example, do I link my tokens to the sport industry token, or like, or how would the use case look like?
Yep, really simply. So if you consider yourself a sports person, you know, Mark, you could rather than a musician, or rather than, you know, a let's say you're not a hotel, you know, you're not a restaurant, let's say you're a sport person, you know, you can put some sport tokens into your treasury. You know, so every token can put one industry token and one city token into its treasury. So if you put a bunch of sport token in your treasury, and you know, there's a lot of sports people who start using the sport token, and the treasury of the sport token grows, you know, the sport token is going to be worth more. And that means that because the sport token is your treasury, you're going to benefit from that growth. So it's kind of like, imagine you created a business which started accepting Bitcoin, you know, and then Bitcoin became really, really much more popular. Now Bitcoin's worth, you know, $10 million of Bitcoin, you know, let's say in 6 years' time. Then by you receiving some Bitcoin, you benefit from the growth of the network. So, you know, for Bitcoin to go from $60,000 to 10 million, it's quite a leap. You know, it's a 200 times leap. But for, you know, the spot token to go from, let's say, $1 to $200 to $500, it's a much less a leap. Like, the economy is still much smaller, so there's much more room for growth. And we believe that, you know, as a sports person, you know, one might be interested in keeping sport token in their treasury rather than keeping, you know, something like Bitcoin or Ethereum, because it's grown so much already. It's like a blue chip stock rather than something which is small but sustainably growing like a blue chip stock.
Okay, so everybody can kind of choose the underlying value you want to put in the treasury. So it can be Bitcoin, Ethereum, units, city or industry tokens. And depending on how they change on the value, we have like this change of underlying value there.
Most definitely. And the cool thing about, you know, unit, the industry, the city tokens is over time, you know, there's more value going to the treasury. So it's incrementally or exponentially going up in value. So it's, people know, you know, if they hold some sport token and there's, you know, $200 million in the sport token treasury, then okay, this is the floor price for the sport token. And if there's 400 million or 500 million or whatever amount of money, then the value of that token increases over time. It's not just the speculative value that's increasing.
The incremental one, yes.
Exactly. And it's more sustainable. And we think that, you know, when people have this confidence that, you know, they're building on strong foundations, then, you know, allows them to work harder. It's really sad, for instance, you know, what's happened in Lebanon or in Zimbabwe or in Venezuela, where people work really hard, you know, they build really good businesses and then their currency is worthless. So all of their work, you know, if they kept in currency, it's worth nothing. So
yeah, in this third world countries with high inflation, sooner or later they're better off maybe using this global currency, like also El Salvador is starting, or like more and more we see these trends. Okay, let's maybe you already touched on the next question, but let's maybe get it more clear. How do you think Unit will revolutionize the idea of tokenization, and what makes Unit unique? You already touched on it, but maybe you can give us the USP a little bit more once again.
Yep, I guess to put simply, you know, the cool thing about Unit and the token economy is it really gives an opportunity and a voice, you know, to the everyday person. So, you know, people used to think of slavery, you know, as very normal. You know, everyone in the US had not everyone, but a lot of people had a slave. You know, a lot of people had, like a lot of people treated African American people very badly, or like even treated women very badly. You know, they weren't allowed to vote, or, you know, it's treated as second-class citizens compared to male or compared to, you know, non-black colored people. We think that, you know, the way the current economic system is set up, you know, people are going to look back at it and think of it very similar to slavery, in the sense that, you know, it's really unfair that, you know, when a project succeeds, it's only the person who came up with the idea and, you know, founded it, as well as the person who had enough money to invest in it, who benefit. The customers and employees, they don't get any of the upside. And we think that it's really going to be the norm, where people aren't just working for a wage or a salary, but they really get a piece of lots of different projects, and they can spread out their risk and get some of this huge economic upside. So we think this is like a post-capitalist society, where, similar to, you know, with the internet, there's just so much information, and it's more or less free. You know, you don't have to pay for newspapers. You don't have to pay for news. You don't have to pay for encyclopedias. Same with the mobile phone. It used to cost like, you know, €1 or $1 a minute to call. Now it's almost free. We think that money at the moment still stresses a lot of people out. It's still very expensive, and we think that in the future it's going to flow around much more freely and be distributed much more equitably.
Okay, yeah, makes totally sense. And yeah, nowadays we have like a lot of blockchain projects, and many are similar, also maybe to our project. Who do you think are like our most competitors, or who are doing similar work like we do, and where do we differentiate us from them? Or like, are there anybody who's doing a similar project like us?
Yeah, in terms of the unit token economy, at its core, like with the treasury, with the exchange features, things like this, I don't think there's any major, similar comparisons or competitors to what we're doing. But I guess in the sport field, one project that we really respect and admire is started by a friend, Alexander. It's called Socios or Chili's, and they basically have issued tokens for a number of big football clubs. I guess the issue with these tokens is that they're not backed up by underlying value. So it's kind of just the speculative hype or speculative marketing value. But it's really great because, this year there've been so many more tokens issued than just, crypto projects. It's things like in the real world, whether it's fashion brands or artists or sports brands. So we're really excited for a future where there's many more. So, but in terms of the idea of a token builder, we don't think there's anything similar.
Okay, wonderful. So for sure, the treasury is one aspect, but maybe also like we are combining the marketplace with the technology side, maybe also connecting investors, ventures and users. So what do you think, like what is the roadmap for the industry tokens in the next 12 to 24 months?
Whoops, great point, Mark. So really the roadmap for the sport token, and our industry and city tokens is that, we work on growing the number of team members that we have in our sport token economy and our other industry teams and token economy. And we build out a number of use cases. So like, for instance, our ventures program that's upcoming, we are focused on trying to bring together a number of projects within these industries and cities, which are within this, which are token driven and successful case studies that we can show to others and make them feel like, wow, I'm a sports person, this other sports person used tokens and it works super well. I'm going to do it too, or this person's a musician, I'm going to create a music token too. So really the ambition and goal there is to work towards creating this sport or music token economy where everyone in the world benefits and engages with tokens and supports one another. Because now we live in a very much zero-sum world, where, let's say you're a sports person, Mark, I'm a sports person, if you succeed, I'm going to be like, that frustrates me because if you do well, it's at the expense of me. And the cool thing about tokens is you end up with a much more collaborative society where if you succeed, I get a piece of that success because I hold some of your tokens and you hold some of mine. So if I am struggling a bit, you're not going to secretly celebrate inside because you're still going well and it motivates you. But you're going to be like, oh my gosh, let's see how we can help Micheal or support him there. If you have a good physio, you won't be like, I'm not going to share with him in case he's too full to support me. It'd be like, okay, I'm gonna send my physio to Micheal because I hold some of his tokens, and then we're gonna have a society where there's just so much money and value flowing around that it doesn't really matter. It's like someone wants to play for one football team or another football team, the salary is going to be a non-issue. It's going to be like, which team do I believe in more, which one provides a better quality of life, which one has fans which resonate with me better. It's the money part of it will be an afterthought. That's the token economy that we are pursuing.
Yeah, it sounds also like it's more collaborative than competitive in some way, because if you hold stakes of everybody, so you rather try to help each other out, support each other. As you said, and let's take like this case study, World Sport Forum. Who do you think would be the perfect candidate, for example, to use our technology? Or
great point. So I guess focusing on the sport token economy, the key perfect scenarios would be sports people, so footballers, tennis players, basketball players, anyone who's a sports person, or people who are interested in sport, so we would highly recommend setting up a sport token agency, so helping sports personalities or players issue tokens, as well as building up a portfolio of sport tokens. So it's kind of like, imagine when the website came out and you're like, I really like sports, I want to find a sport website, and there's no websites about sport, nothing to update you about football games, nothing to read about players, nothing to learn about different sports. So that's very much the state of tokens at the moment. There aren't many token related sports stuff. There's maybe a few players, like Lionel Messi or Tom Brady, both extremely accomplished, who are closely affiliated with crypto projects, but the way we view that, it's very transactional. They're doing it because they believe in it, but also because they're getting paid a huge paycheck. And we want them to be creating a token at their own discretion, distributing and selling some to their fans, investing in token-based projects. Things like this.
So guys, I'm, for example, a personal coach. Do I have to set up a completely new structure to use it? Or like, for example, I already have like some kind of existing business. Can I transfer it to use the tokens? Or do I need to kind of start a new business?
Most definitely. So you can just transition it across. So it's kind of like a social media account. If you're used to sending out a newsletter, or you're used to sending out emails, creating a token is just an evolution of that. So you don't have to worry about the difficulties of creating something new from scratch. You can just build on top of it, and it's going to allow what you have underneath and existing to succeed.
Oh, okay, makes totally sense. And how can people get more involved with the unit project, or with the industry, city tokens?
Great point. So we have 5 main initiatives for unit. We have got the conferences. We, like, for instance, the World Sport Forum, we do this every 6 months. So if you know some people in the sport industry who'll be keen to speak or participate or present, please feel free to reach out. We have our ventures program. So this runs every 3 months. We are bringing together, leaders in different, we're bringing together leading projects and incubating and supporting them. We have the master's program. So that is educating, improving people's knowledge of the token economy with the university, where we're trying to build up a knowledge base so that, if someone wants to understand about a particular sport token, they can learn lots about it. And then news. So we're covering, breaking news, updates and insights with what's happening within the token economy, whether it's with sports or with other industries or different cities around the world.
Okay, makes sense. So, and we're also like still hiring people for the unit project, but also, of course, for all the 50 industries and city tokens. And how would the process look like if I, for example, want to become a sport core team member?
Yep. So I guess feel free to reach out to Mark, myself, or one of our other co-founders, who can help you on board into the sport core team. We're trying to bring together a team of 200 people for our sport core team. You get 100,000 sport tokens and be a part of creating the sport token economy, effectively like the sports stock exchange or crypto exchange. Please feel free to reach out. We're really getting the ball moving. Really proud of Mark's work here, and big thank you for all of us in the team for your hard work, Mark, in terms of pulling off. And really excited for the rest of the sessions today, and gonna also watch some of the recordings after. So really excited.
Thank you very much.
And congratulations.
I have one last question. How can I buy unit industry city tokens? How can I buy it, and what is the roadmap for the funding?
Most definitely. So our industry and city tokens, we plan on releasing and launching the sale for them early next year, so 2022. So we're working hard on building our core team so that by January, February, March, April next year, we can launch the sport token. We have 100 million sport tokens. The first 10 million sport tokens will be sold for $1. So there's 10 million, so 10 million US. The second one will be sold at $2, so 20 million US, 10 million tokens each. The third one, $3, 10 million tokens, 30 million. $4, 10 million, 40 million, and $5, 10 million, 50 million. So it cumulatively pulls together $150 million, which backs up the sport token.
Okay, and in which time horizon do you think it will be?
We think it'll be early next year. So we're thinking like Q1 of next year. latest by Q2, but we think within the first quarter of next year we can really get the engine moving forward and the movement started. We don't want to do it prematurely because we think we need to build up this really strong foundation to build upon, and we want to have a really stellar, strong sport team. So if anyone's interested, please feel free to reach out, and excited to see how we can collaborate and participate with other people in the sport industry here today.
And also maybe it's also worth mentioning that the unit token sales starts already a little bit earlier, right?
Yeah, most definitely. So we're opening up the next round of our unit token sale. We hope to complete it by the end of the year. So please feel free to reach out to Mark if you're interested to learn more or be a part of unit token economy or the sport token economy. We think we can collaborate and work and support as many people as possible, and lots that we can learn from others. So really excited and looking forward to the journey ahead. So I guess we have a minute till the next session. So maybe Mark, if you want to introduce our next speaker, please. Thank you.
Yes, for sure. Thank you very much.